I saw
Yeah,
your YouTube stuff with is it Amelia?
yeah. We jumped on the phone. We just did a quick chat talking about different things, and I figured I love having these conversations. So
Hmm.
why not, invite people to get a little bit of insight as to what we talk about on a day-to-day basis. They might pick something up. They might not. We'll see.
Yeah.
But the first one I did was a gentleman. He's with EXP out of Port Elgin, Southampton area. Jesse Top is his name.
Hmm.
And again, we check in, we talk on a fairly regular basis. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I throw a recording on this?" And it was great. So obviously, I always like checking in with you to see what you've got going on. Uh, I respect that you couldn't talk last week, so that's fun. You got to tell me about your trip. What? So you were down Puerto Vallarta, or no?
No, well, I wish we were at Puerto Vallarta. The flight would have been
Yeah,
cheaper.
fair enough.
So I told people before we left when I said I'm going to Mexico. You're going to Mexico? I'm like, yeah, I got a $25 flight.
Uh,
Wish that were
uh,
true.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
Puerto Morales.
Puerto Morales. That's right. At
Yeah,
least you
I
know where that is. Not a lot of people don't.
no, it's beautiful. We went. I took Rayanne for her birthday a few years ago, and we stayed at Dreams Jade. And fun enough, they had bikes that you could borrow at the resort, and we just hopped on the bikes and took a tour into town there. And when I say it was like my favorite grocery store, and Cabo's got some great grocery stores. Um,
Yeah.
not that that's how you judge a city or town, but like it's shocking. Like you walk inside and it's like, oh, this is they got like a nice little coffee shop area.
Yeah.
They've got some great stuff. It's just fun. But tell me about the seaweed.
Oh my God. So first of all, it's called sargassum.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
sarcasm, which is kind of ironic. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's how it's spelt. But it was gross, man. It was the worst I've seen yet. And we've been
Yeah.
going steadily for 5 years now, a couple times a year. But they were good. Every morning the workers get up and take that stuff away in dump trucks. If that's how much there is, there's dump trucks of
Yeah.
it. But the last day it was calm and there was nothing. It was great. Would
Perfect.
walk out into the water and the bottom was like sand instead of brown.
Yeah. Not super squishy.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
We
Back in
had
the
that.
I was gonna say back in the day we used to just love the beach and we were always on the beach. But with Mila, the pools are the thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's not as important to us anymore. But
No, we had a conference at Moon Palace the one year. What a spectacular resort, and it was fantastic, Cancun area. Um, but every so often you would catch a whiff of the seaweed that was on the beach, and it's just like holy cow! And that was at the pool. Like we were up, we weren't even on the beach. We had the kids and stuff, and yeah, it was crazy. But no, I think they've been dealing with that for years, and I think they know how to deal with it. It's just the sheer volume of it this year was,
yeah, it was more than usual for sure.
yeah, yeah. Would you buy a place there?
Would I? If I had
Yeah.
money, I'd buy a place in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's funny because Jesse, as I mentioned, he was talking. He's got a couple places in Dominican,
Mhm.
and but they were just in the Cancun Tulum area, and I was asking him like, hey, would you buy there? And they were just anti Cancun airport. Like that was
Really?
their
That's
yeah.
such a smooth airport, I find. It takes us no time to get through it. Sometimes, I mean, we've progressed to moving or to traveling on Sundays because it is a little bit less busy and a
Okay.
little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, we have rides to pick us up and everything. So it's, like clockwork.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. What's keeping you busy in Guelph right now?
Kind of the same as what you are. It's kind of a bit of a lull, but busy, but not getting the contracts done. Um, although, I've got a bunch done that are closing in May and April, right? But there's this gap between, say, mid-February. I guess we're only in March.
Yeah, yeah,
It feels like forever, but we're only in March. So, but there's that lull between the middle of February and now where I haven't written a deal.
yeah.
Right. I was away for a week, but people are just kind
That's
of
usually when you
holding
get busy.
off. Yeah. Well, when you're on vacation for you,
Yeah,
for sure. I'll never
that's when the
forget
phone
that
starts
one
ringing.
year.
Yeah,
Uh, The fish was this big, as this way the story goes for me. I did
yeah,
10 deals while I was away, and Brett did them all.
yeah.
I don't know if it was 10, but it was a lot.
It was a few.
Yeah. But so what I'm finding is that there's this, people are just waiting for more inventory. What's out there is either overpriced or it's just not quite what they want. And so people are just relaxing and taking their time. It's actually what it was 20 years ago when I started,
Yeah,
where you could, take a couple months to find the right property. When you find it, you do your home inspection and all that stuff. It's the good old days.
I kicked a few tires for you and Dita. I remember 20 years ago.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I learned a little bit from that too. You took me to the office and did this little thing about something about real estate. I have no idea what it was. Signed this little piece of paper or something. I don't know. We just did what we had to do to see the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, exactly.
but I do remember
But
that. And then I remember Hudson Smith as well. The two agents were you and Hudson Smith that we ran across, and I learned a piece of the business from each. And actually, I modeled my business around some of those things that I learned. So thank you.
yeah,
Other
no,
agents, I didn't learn a thing.
no, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be the way when people get into the business, they usually talk about either a really good experience or really poor experience, and they go, "I got in this business because it was so bad that I figured even I could do it." Type deal. So I hope that wasn't the case. It's like, oh my
No, you
God,
actually did things the proper way. And I have to confess, I don't do it the proper way with sitting people down. If, they want to come and look at a house, I break the rules of our TRESA. I show them a house and I just believe in implied consent. When they ask me to do something, I go do it. And, when
yeah,
the time is right and they have the trust in me, we sign the documents that are required.
yeah.
Right.
No, that's fair. I just found, especially based on proximity, because I think the place that you guys looked at was I, I want to say it was like Stevenson area, maybe like Vancouver Drive, off
I
Victoria
couldn't
there.
tell
Like
you.
no, but it was someplace relatively close to the office.
Yeah. You were
Uh,
downtown at the time, right?
yeah, we were on Wyndham there, 87 Wyndham, and yeah, so it was still convenient. It wasn't like, hey, let's meet at the office and then go show houses in Milton. So
Yeah. Well, it made sense, and that's the one thing I took away from it is it made sense. You did things right. You explained things right. We weren't in the mindset. We were young and dumb, but thought we were smart, and it just kind of went like this, I think. And I think that's the one thing we learned. It has nothing to do with you because you did it right. But that's the one thing when Dita and I sit down with buyers is we do have that talk with them. We talk about, obviously what they want,
yeah,
what they're looking for, the experience, but we give them sort of a rundown of what to expect. And we tell them, hey, we don't expect you to remember anything we talked about now, but we're going to come back to this. And I don't do it all the time, but when we do offers, we will have them go over the offer and we'll quiz them about the offer. And we'll say, okay, well, how much did you offer for the house? How long did we give them to the seller to make up their mind?
yeah,
What kind of conditions did we put in it? And then they kind of, okay, so, they remember stuff and we just have fun with that.
that's
And,
awesome.
because the one experience that Dita and I had that, is that when we actually did buy our first house,
Yeah,
the agent was fantastic. It was me. No, just kidding.
yeah,
It was me, but we still don't remember anything.
yeah.
And,
Well,
and
no,
I did the offer.
yeah.
Like it was,
So what what's funny about that is I truly like digital signatures. The ease of it is great. But one of the things I used to excel at was walking people through the offer in person.
Yeah.
And I would, to many a chagrin, walk them through point by point. And I understood the offer implicitly enough that I could walk through and like, okay, so this is what this means, and this is what this means, um, just to get that comfort level of, hey, you are signing a huge contract. This is likely a larger contract than you've ever signed in your entire life, um, and many listing agents hated it because I'd do the same thing when we did the offer presentation at the seller's kitchen table. So I'd have my offer in hand. I'm like, okay, and here's why we did this, and here's what this is, and here's point by point by point. And I remember walking out, and I forget who it was exactly. And they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that just took like 35 minutes to go through it all." And I said, "Well, it's the whole offer. You shouldn't have to go through it now with your client. Like it's all through, and it allows me to impress upon them that, listen, we are serious. We want the house, and here's exactly what I walked my clients through, so everybody's on the same page." um, but I remember the one time we did a final walkthrough on closing, and this is a very smart lady. She's a great person. I'll just say her first name, but Kendra is her name, and super nice, super intelligent. And we had done a home inspection, like a full, like 2.5 hour, 3 hour home inspection. We get down to the basement because we go down and check, to see if they've taken away the furnace filter or something ridiculous like that. And as we're going down the stairs, there's a hole about this big. Like it's not a it's like a Hulk smash right through the drywall. Um, Something happened obviously where they were coming around the corner at the bottom of the staircase where and it wasn't a finished basement. And she's like, "Oh my God, look at the hole." I'm like, it's been there since the beginning. And I didn't point it out because I'm like, it's a gaping giant hole that, you
Yeah.
know, anyway. So yeah, just when people get caught up in certain things, you just hope that they don't have that buyer's remorse at the end of the whole thing.
Yeah. That's the worst is the final walkthrough.
Yeah,
When everything's left taken out of the house, there's no staging, there's dust
yeah,
bunnies in the corner. Like, oh, doesn't look
yeah.
as good as what it did in day
No,
presentation
no,
day.
yeah. Are you still doing a lot of charity stuff? Like you were very involved with a few different charitable organizations and really a key principle in one in particular. Is that still moving forward?
Um, yes and no in different ways. So the big one I think you're talking about is the radical housing one where we were building basement apartments. That was something that we did to step into because nothing was being done like it at the time.
Yeah.
And since then, the government's really stepped up the game and giving grants, and there's no need for us. And plus, I started to hate it, to be honest,
Okay.
because
Just
you know
frustrating.
it's frustrating, and I don't mean it in a negative way. Like, I mean, I guess there's no positive way to say it, but sometimes the people that need the most help get in their own way of getting the help they need,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, fair enough.
And it ended up costing me, I think I'm 20 grand in the hole from that because of non-payment. And
Yeah.
I mean, what am I going to do? Go after these people? They're hurting already. So
Yeah.
I just called
Yeah.
it a loss, and in the process of actually shutting down the company, which is also costly.
Yeah. No, in
Yeah,
and out.
yeah,
It's got cost associated. Yeah, because we've been trying to get off the floor for a while. A program, and it actually is back to when we had the real estate company. It was ACT, and it was a charitable thought.
yeah,
And so we're still, working on that, but again, trying to revive it on the charitable side,
yeah,
um, simply because people are really, tightening their purse strings, tightening
yeah,
their belts, trying to save money where they can. And as fortunate as Guelph and the surrounding areas are for a very charitable mindset, it's one of the first things that people cut out,
Mm.
unfortunately. And so, yes, a lot of great charitable organizations
Yeah.
that could really be, the benefactors of many people, and but they they find that their bottom line is we're just not getting the donations.
Yeah. It's the people, you're right. It's just, it's not easy. And for me, there's people that specialize in charitable stuff. It's easier to give towards that and donate my time to do stuff. I'm
Yeah,
not an organizer that way. I only did it to step up because nothing was being done and I just felt compelled to do it.
yeah,
And I thought that we had a solution, and I think it was a solution. I just think that it needed a bigger person in terms of money to do it, right? Because what we were doing was the financing of the basement apartment and sharing in the rent until it's paid off, right? Because the issue with people, they live in their house, they have extra space in their basement, they'd love to have income from a basement apartment, but for X, Y, or Z reason, they can't get a loan on that. They can't get the money to build the basement apartment. So if we split the rent, they're happy with $1,000 a month. It's $1,000 a month more in their pocket. We get our $1,000 a month, and eventually the house get or the basement apartment gets paid. It's almost like we were renting their basement to rent it
yeah.
anyway, right?
They had
And
that program with solar panels for a while too, where you'd have one organization that was basically renting the roof.
yeah,
Um,
very similar. I think that's the initial um, thought process behind it. The problem with it is that solar panels are easier to put a lien on the house.
yeah,
Basement apartment, you think you'd be able to, but you can't. You can put
mm,
a construction lien, but it's only time limited.
yeah,
So you have nothing else, and people don't want you to be on the mortgage,
no,
as a second mortgage or whatever there's lots of opportunities that way. But
yeah,
I remember one basement apartment, the person really desperately needed help and just had one bad thing happen after another to her. But I was really disappointed in the community with that one. Um, on one hand, the community stepped up big time to help. There was a company that donated all of their electrical work in terms of manpower.
wow,
The company that supplied them with materials, 100% donated. So you're talking $20,000 worth of donations right
amazing.
there. Amazing. You had groups of people come in, pulling out nails and tearing down walls and stuff like that. Amazing. But then you had, on the financing side of it, a person who I will not say the name,
Okay,
who charged thousands of dollars to do a second mortgage on the property when I did one exactly like that through I forget what it's called now, but your self directed RSP.
yeah,
I did it for nothing, and my lawyer did a little bit of work for free.
yeah,
And the lawyer on that also charged them a couple $1,000.
yeah.
And I'm like, by the time they're done, I don't know what it totaled, something like eight or $10,000. Like unbelievable.
Yeah,
And what pissed me off is that I just know the work that was required, and it was not what they were getting paid. And this
no,
is supposed to be to help somebody. Yet you have another company who donated $20,000 worth of time and materials. Just it
yeah,
didn't balance out. And this is what I'm talking about. The charity world is messed up.
yeah. Well, when we turn record off, I'll ask you the name.
You won't want to know.
I do
Yeah.
want to
So,
know.
anyways, I don't do that anymore, but I do work with charities, Guelph Community Foundation.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I got the Guelph and the community. I just for some reason my brain doesn't connect. I got to practice at night saying that or something. But I've been working with them for a couple of years on the grants committee, just helping figure out, where the money goes that comes in. And that's a cool program too, where you can have I'm going to butcher it, of course, but basically, from a layman's perspective, is a really good way of, excluding all the acronyms and proper naming. Someone comes in, they have a chunk of money, they can give it to the community foundation and they can invest it. And the investment pays for the charities. So it just sits there forever, making
In
money in the
perpetuity.
investments is
Yeah,
amazing. Or you can just say, here's 10 grand and let's put it towards this charity. Or, you tell me which one is in the need. And that's what I
yeah,
do is I'm on a
yeah.
committee that figures out where the need is right now based on a certain criteria. It's pretty fun. I feel like I'm giving back and you learn a lot about, you know, I'll give you an example. There are a lot of small charities out there that do really good work, but they just don't know how to write the grant application well.
Applications. Yeah,
So I have a soft spot for those. So we have a system we use, a point system to evaluate these, but I'm pretty lenient on the one of those criteria because I recognize that they don't have the skills to write it the way that what we're looking for.
yeah.
But what they're doing is actually really good. So
Perfect. No, that's
yeah,
exciting.
yeah, that is exciting.
No, we're very fortunate that like Kingwell Fine Homes is helping some of the habitat stuff,
Yeah,
and it's and fortunate being a two-way street. I think they are fortunate that we're doing that. We're fortunate that we get to do that. So it's really good. Um, but always asking about what's going on in the community for charities because again, almost exactly what you said about the grant application. Well, there's other aspects of some of the charitable stuff that you just is so under the radar that they might be doing a great job, but for a very few number of people, they just don't seem to have that megaphone to broadcast out there what works they're doing. But
yeah, it's about the
yeah,
connections and stuff like that. And
yeah,
there's a lot of what I do know is that a lot of people are trying to do good, and we're limited with what we can do.
yeah,
So that's really important to have groups like the Guelph Community Foundation, to help allocate where this money goes.
yeah.
You have one coming up uh, on Gordon Street, off of Gordon Street somewhere. What's the timeline on that one? I thought
Last
you
year,
last year, of course. Yeah,
last year.
good bread answer.
Yeah, yeah, we're ready to go. No, we're working on the city on that. We're past the pre-consults and now into the application phase. So that's great. We're working with a couple of investors that have hired on Georgian Huron Developments and Kingwell Fine Homes to go through that process. And so we're pretty excited about where we are with that. It's going to be uh, through the MLI Select program with CMHC. So again, some of the higher ratio financing side of things,
Mhm.
um, and ultimately hoping for 19 units with three of those being affordable. Just because we want to wrap in that affordability uh, aspect to it, and yeah, they'll be. I won't say they're going to be net zero or net zero ready, but they'll be pretty darn close. Like they're
Yeah.
with some of the energy efficiency aspects that we're including in it, they're going to be pretty slick. I think we're going to have a lot of happy people that decide to live there ultimately. But no, it's as with anything right now, there just seems to be delays with various municipalities. Um, and the irony is now, as we're talking to the municipalities, they're all like, I mean, across the board. Okay, do you think you can have shovels in the ground this year?
Yeah.
Because any of the programs that they're operating, they really say, okay, well, we've got this potential money from the accelerator fund, but if they run out, then we run out. So we really want our community to get it. The accelerator fund was set up to go through like 27, 28, like 2027, 2028, and they're all these municipalities are like, I think they're gonna cap out that they're gonna hit where they what their target was and say, okay, no more accelerator fund or it's full.
Yeah.
Um, CMHC has that like every year they've got like certain components for just like I won't call it grant money, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's like January 2nd, they're okay, we're
Yeah.
tapped out. And I
Yeah.
think even with the MLI Select, and this is part of the reason why we're pushing all of our projects forward as quick as we can right now, is just getting into that approval queue, because the past few years, any announcements that CMHC has done was June. And so if that's a marker for what to watch for, um, again, they're an insurance company. You went through this. You saw this firsthand on the mortgage side. As soon as they hit a threshold of applications that they are happy with, they're done. They're like, okay, we're going to change the program or cancel the program. So they're very good at getting rid of successful programs.
Yeah. It's a shame. We need, I mean, the irony of everything is that we have a housing crisis,
Yeah,
yet we can't build anything. Nobody's
no,
building anything.
it's well. What did you think of Bank of Canada's announcement there yesterday? I guess it was. Um, so I'll basically
You
they
can,
came out and said point blank, housing's too expensive. So anything that we're monitoring or worried about is still housing prices. Actively try to destroy equity in the housing market. But
that's so stupid though, right? It's not necessarily the equity of our homes that we live in now, in my opinion. It's the cost of building.
yeah,
The cost of building is way too much. Materials are high, wages are even high, and you know that better than anyone. And your rates are actually probably some of the best in the industry, right?
we try.
Right?
And again, so we do cost plus, and basically that just means it's open book, and people can come to us and say, okay, listen, we want to move forward with this project. Give us a quote, and our quote is, if you use this flooring company, it's going to cost this. If you use this, it's going to cost this, and then we add our percentage on. But based on economies of scale, based on the relationships that we've built with all of our tradespeople, I'm going to call it free. The impact of our markup should be neutral, just with the savings that we're going to help them with.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's also
But
the cost of land. Anyone that bought land from, say, 2020 till now paid too much for it, and they can't build
yeah,
because the prices have come down below where they can build it for.
yeah, it's so one of the things that is tied to the accelerator fund in City of Guelph. So any affordable unit, they're not just giving a $25,000 grant, but they're also waiving the city's portion of the development charges. So there's significant savings there. But that significant savings actually takes us back to where they were not too long ago,
Yeah.
right? Like it's if again I'm going to use super round numbers, but like when we started some of these projects and getting quotes for them back in 2018 and stuff, like the numbers that like our construction numbers were buck 60, like $160 a square ish, depending on what you're
That's,
building, right? Like
yeah.
it's and when you increase that by call it 50% roughly, um, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense. Builders that are having trouble right now are ones with large staffs that have a ton of overhead, and they're effectively being forced to build um, just to sell enough homes to make payroll, right? Like it's we're seeing good high quality people getting laid off and let go and switching companies just because if a builder is used to building 800 900 units a year and their minimum is kind of that 600 units a year range
Mhm.
and they're doing 200, like they're dipping in their pockets pretty quick to
Yeah.
pay people. So
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
catch 22, and I don't know the solution for that. I've actually not really sold that many new builds at all for some reason. It's just I don't know how to sell them, we'll say, in terms of bringing buyers. And that started off early, actually, in my career where I got burned by a couple of builders. And I'm like, screw that. I'm going to go sell them a resale. I get paid quicker and
Yeah,
more. So,
yeah.
and that's always in the back of my head. I know it's not like that today. I just found my groove and just kept going down that road, right?
That was the biggest difference that I saw was in the London area. Builders all had realtor representatives, and a few of them moved to like when things were really ramping up and they were doing a ton of volume and it was order takers. They brought on a few like in-house staff people,
Mhm.
um, but for the most part, that relationship, that symbiosis was there between realtors um, uh, and the builders. We just didn't see that in Guelph, in my opinion. Right? There was a few
Yeah.
people that worked with a few builders, and I just don't know if it's just a different scope. Right? Like you had Westminster Woods that was being developed, and then in terms of when you and I were rolling through the 2000s there, like that was kind of the big build, and then you had some Terraview stuff just
Yeah. Yeah.
off Edinburgh and whatnot. But for 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 the large part, you didn't hear too much about some of the builders, um, and now it's like you just can't keep up. Like who's building what and where, and
Yeah, I find the same thing too. That's why I thought Trillium West when they were around. They've moved over to another Bosley, I think.
yeah,
I thought they had the right ideas to kind of consolidate it into one spot where they can represent all the builders in one place.
yeah, yeah.
You know, I don't
Yeah.
know what
We
happened to
had
that,
we
why
had
it didn't succeed, but
we had that one room, and I don't know if you remember at our office on Woodlawn. Um, I had it set up where the different builders with the different plans and stuff, with a thought process that even if we don't use these plans today and we don't sell any of the builders today, that at least we had the designs that when it's resale in 4 or 5 years, we knew exactly the square footage and what the upgrades and features at that time were,
yeah,
because it was typical that a lot of the stuff that was on the resale market was stuff that was now 3 or 4 years old, and people were either upgrading or whatever.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's funny how business changes over the years. I used to be heavy into investment
yeah,
people, but I've changed over. Like, I mean, I feel like I do a lot more first-time home buyers and downsizers
yeah,
than anything. And I love doing that, to be honest. I love it because they appreciate you.
yeah,
Both sides, a downsizer who hasn't sold in 30 years, they need all the help they can get, interpreting what AI is. What's AI? And first-time home buyers, if they get in, I'm a little older for that. They usually like their buddy, that just got their license kind of thing. But some of them are, I don't want to say they're smart, insinuating they're not intelligent if they use their buddy. But I think that
you can say savvy.
savvy, yeah, the savvy ones are the
Yeah,
ones that seek out the people like you and I who have been in the business for a long time and know what we're talking about because this is the biggest purchase of their life. It's their first one. They don't know anything. Their buddy probably doesn't know as much as he thinks he knows or she thinks she knows. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can learn in real estate school.
yeah,
And but anyways, I love working with them because they appreciate a lot of times the expertise that we have. And I
yeah.
love that trust part. The middle part, I mean, certainly people trust me and they call me to do their stuff, but I find that I don't get new clients in that middle age bracket, right? And then the other thing that I've been doing lately is focusing on relocation.
Okay.
I'm not from Guelph. I never went to high school with anybody here. I don't have those buddies. I'll just use Rob Green as an example, who his father was in real estate. He went to school here, grew up here. Everybody knows Rob Green, right? You see his name everywhere. I don't have that. I didn't grow up here. So, he's a similar age as me. So naturally, he's kind of got some of that market that I would maybe have if I lived here.
Yeah,
But I figured people from Toronto, they don't know who's here. They might look at who has listings and go with that person. But I put a lot of effort into YouTube and specifically relocation and doing videos that are helpful to buyers coming to Guelph.
yeah.
I did
What's
one,
your new Facebook group? It's all about relocation.
yeah, my YouTube
Oh,
channel.
wait, what? Well, so your YouTube channel, tell us a little bit about that, but also the Facebook group. Who should be joining that?
Yeah, so I have rebranded a little bit, but it all stems from YouTube and everything else supports the YouTube channel because I think that's where to go because other realtors aren't willing to put the effort into YouTube because it takes a lot of energy and a long period of time. We're all
Yeah,
the same as human beings. We want the quick fix,
yeah,
and it's just not like that. And there is literally an art to it that some people can have really good videos and they just won't move forward. And I was like that for forever. And I just started getting traction because I've been putting the effort into it. I did a video yesterday. It's already got 360 views in 24 hours. That's by far my best performing one.
nice.
Usually it takes 2 months to get to that level. And I
Yeah,
mean, these aren't big giant numbers, like because I'm not a YouTuber. I don't have 100,000 followers, but I just want 100 to 500 followers at most that come to the channel because they want to learn about Guelph. They want to be my
yeah,
client. I don't want every single realtor in the world following me. It is useless, right?
yeah.
I don't.
No, exactly.
I
I got
love
to
it for
figure out.
pride. I
Yeah,
got so, but it doesn't really help me that you follow my channel unless you decide to watch everyone and it helps the algorithms. I do that. I follow yours. I subscribe to it just because I know that when a video comes out, I'm going to watch a couple minutes of it at least. Maybe the whole thing if it's not an hour long. And just because I know the algorithms work and it actually looks at percentage as well. So you
yeah,
know, if I watch 50% of your podcast with Amelia, I know that is going to help your channel and other
yeah.
people might see the same thing. So there is value that way, but I don't want every realtor following me that doesn't really care about anything I do.
I just have to figure out how to replicate the ones that did succeed, and I'm not I'm not intelligent enough to figure out. Like, hey, this YouTube short got 1,200 views. I'm like, that's great. Why? You know,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm
There's
like,
there's a trick to it. So shorts will always get more views than the long form, right? They're the front door of the house.
yeah,
And so you want to keep doing those things. And it is kind of random. It's a different type of viewer that watches those as well. So it's
yeah,
a different type of way of doing it. Like you could take this, post it on YouTube. Maybe you will do that, and you can take little snippets of this. They'll perform okay, but they're not going to perform one as well as ones that you've sat down and you thought out, you've scripted properly based on the intent, right? And
yeah.
everyone knows now that you can use ChatGPT or all these. What's the other one that there's
Claude,
Gemini, there's Claude is a good one right now that I've heard it really works well for this kind of stuff. Where once it learns your voice, it'll give you a script in your own voice. You give it, you say, write me a YouTube short that is
yeah,
specific to relocation. I want to talk about the five myths or the two of the myths that people hear about Guelph. Give me a strong hook, a whatever it's called in the middle. I'm just forgetting what it technically is called, and then your call to action at the end. And it'll write it for you, and you can just literally read it,
yeah,
and you can have it done in 5 minutes. And those actually perform really well because the algorithms like that. The algorithms now look at what you say keywords. You want also one of the instructions you give it is to use SEO rich words.
Yeah.
And you can even tell it what words if you can do research in advance.
So I used that and asked some questions about SEO and more importantly, because I don't know that people are necessarily using Google as well. The clients that we're looking for, they might not be using Google as often as talking to Chat or
Right.
Claude or Perplexity or any of the platforms. And so when we you know look to score high on being searched out within those AI platforms. And now, just because we've done a bunch of videos and stuff and linked it back to our blog um, on our website, then
Yep.
all of a sudden now, if you say, hey, I need a builder that specializes in MLI select
Yeah.
type product, we actually appear.
Yeah. If
Um,
you can niche down to something very specific like that,
yeah,
you're golden. And that's the key and that's the one thing that I have changed in my real estate business is I used to be the guy for everyone because I didn't want
yeah,
to miss anybody. I wanted to cast
yeah,
a wide net, right? But then I really focused on first time home buyers and downsizers. And now I've kind of evolved a little same kind of thing, but more relocation. And I still actually did more deals last year than ever, right?
amazing.
This year is a little on a slightly slower pace, but I think I'll still be pretty decent. You got a
Yeah,
bunch of stuff in the works, right? We're
yeah.
still early in the year as well, but it just is interesting how when you've niched down that people who are investors still seek you out.
Yeah.
They're not stopping working with me just because I've kind of declared who I work for or work with.
No, fair enough. So the doom and gloom stuff that you hear, people are still buying. What are they calling you about? Like, what are they after?
So right now, because I work with a lot of first time home buyers, we're looking at price ranges between 500 and 700.
Okay.
And you can get detached houses in Guelph now for that,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And it's also, there is a bit of pressure to buy it because we don't know that this is the bottom. It could be, but it could also go up tomorrow. There are a lot of people, in my opinion, that can afford to buy a house, like can, and they're waiting for the right house. They're taking their time, as we talked about earlier, but they're not making the decision because mostly I hear is tariffs. Guelph is big time impacted by the
Yeah.
potential effects of tariffs.
Yeah.
And the news and media has everyone scared to hell because of that, right? So as soon as that news is lifted, there's going to be hundreds of sales because who wants to throw away their money in rent? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are families that are getting bigger. They need a bigger house, but they're
Yeah.
stuffing themselves in, a two-bedroom condo because that's what they have. And
Is
they
that
don't.
what happened in Toronto? Like, is that like if you were to break down in your opinion, and I think I've shared my opinion, but if you were to break down your opinion as to the glut in the condo market in Toronto, it was just I'll let you.
Well, I mean, so I actually thought about this a lot because when I first started real estate 20 years ago, there was a guy named Don, and I forget his last name. I don't know if he's alive to this day. He used to work
Okay.
for Home Life. Um, and he told me he had bought,
Don McLaughlin?
yes, is he still around? I don't know. I haven't
No,
talked to him
he
in
worked
years.
at Peak, right?
For a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't talked to him for years, but we used to chat all the time. But he was telling me how he had bought lots of apartments in Kitchener back in the day when everything was going up, and how the rug was pulled out from underneath and everyone's stuck with these. And, I'm like, this is a very familiar story that's building. I'm thinking this in the 2020s. This sounds very similar to what Don McLaughlin said. And I'm like, don't buy condos. It's not a good thing. We're building way too many. Nobody really wants to live in these things. It's they buy them because they have to. And then when in Toronto they started building these 300 square foot ones, just stupid.
Closet space.
Exactly. But they did it because that's what people can afford. And it was the stupidest thing in the world. And I kind of knew this was going to happen based on Don's story, and it's exactly what he said happened to him is happening now. And people still want detached homes in Toronto. Those are
Yeah,
selling. It's the
yeah,
condos. There's just too many of them.
yeah. Well,
So
and they didn't
downsizers
build.
are great if they want to sell their house and
Yeah,
buy a condo. It's perfect.
well, absolutely. But they didn't build. And I remember we were at the mayor's breakfast, the State of the City address 4 or 5 years ago. Don't quote me. And Cam was up there, and I actually asked the question. I'm like, can you not force builders, right? And when I say force, um, it was, persuade through incentives of some kind
Yeah.
that, if you're going to build apartments, that's great. But if you're not building some 3 bedroom units and, some larger 2 bedroom units that families can actually, like, when you think of these apartment buildings in New York City or some of the big metropolises, like, yeah, they had a ton of these apartments that you see, but they were still big enough for a family, and it was close quarters, but it was family sized. Now you 600 square feet, like,
Yeah. Everything's two bedroom, one bedroom or two bedroom, and that's not what families need. That's those are the people that need homes. Those are the people that need affordable homes, are
yeah,
families.
yeah,
And we need to build 3, 4 bedroom homes. And I get that land costs money. I get that we want to condense for the environment, all these things, but nobody wants to live in a condo. Back in the day, you and I are probably the same. Like most people our age are the same. We used to go in the back 40 and ride our bikes and build tree forts. You don't hear that anymore. People are growing up in, you know, almost like jails, to be honest.
yeah. We had enough room diagonally in our backyard that my brother and I could do a pitching, like a bullpen session, to each other. And then, obviously, when my parents moved, where my mom still is, but just a huge backyard. We should have. We didn't want the cats coming around, but I had enough room to put a beach volleyball court, and that would have been fantastic. But anyway, but
Yeah,
yeah, but just like, yeah, the basketball hoop in the driveway,
yeah,
and
absolutely. But
yeah,
people don't have that now, and it's a shame. And it's multifaceted. Like I said, it's environmental, it's cost of land, it's
yeah,
cost of building, and it's a shame. And I hear this all the time. In fact, if you go on Facebook, where I did post the link to my YouTube channel, um, I posted it on a group that I maybe shouldn't have, but Facebook gave me incentive. It said, "I'll give you $5 if you post it on 6 different groups." So I did, and one of them was caught in Guelph or caught. I just got a middle. I
oh,
don't know what.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh my God, there's some people on that I'm like, this guy must comment every single time someone posts something, and it's always the same. Guelph is horrible, but there is some truth to it. It's changed. Guelph isn't what it used to be, but it's ironic because the post was about the myths of Guelph,
yeah,
yet what this one particular person was talking about are all false things. It's realtors' fault, that the prices are so high. I'm like, no, our job actually, if we're working with buyers, is to get the lower price, not just the higher price. And right now in today's market, there isn't multiple, well, there are some multiple offers, but you can get offers under, we had 100,000 under asking, and we're talking $800,000 homes. It's a pretty big dip. We got a detached house for 635, and it was renovated perfectly. Like,
yeah,
could never get that a year ago. So it's just a bit of misinformation. But yeah, we can't build what people actually want, and that's part of the problem in this market. Is we have a need for homes, but we're not building what people want, and so
yeah,
they're just comfortable being where they are.
yeah.
They can rent a
I
house.
I really enjoyed our townhouses, and there's a great at 6 o'clock in the morning when you hear somebody else uh, shoveling your driveway there and the parking lot. But I really don't know why more builders have shied away from like the street towns, not the stack towns,
Yeah.
right? Everybody wants to do stack towns, um, but
I
yeah,
was thinking
Eh,
that the other day, exactly the
eh,
same thought. Stacked townhouses are the answer to two things. One is the bylaws or zoning requirements of a city to get the most amount of units in a space
yeah,
because it wasn't zoned for a four-story apartment building, but you can get a four-story stacked townhouse in there.
yeah,
That's how
yeah,
it started, and everyone's building those, and it's not
yeah.
good. People don't
We're
want
doing it.
that.
We're using those on um, for our purpose built rental stuff
Yeah.
because again, it fits the need for temporary, like a 1 or 2 year window, and then people will need something bigger.
Yeah.
And you have a couple of those as affordable. Like it's to try and get people up and up and out, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea of building homes with a built-in rental.
Yeah,
A lot of builders are doing that, and I think if we do more of that, then that'll create some affordability because you can use the income from the basement apartment to help yourself. And a lot of people, I don't want to have someone in my basement, but you know what? If you do that for 5 years and then sell it, you've made your life different.
yeah,
My life would be very different if Tito would have allowed us to do a basement apartment.
yeah,
But it cost us in the long run because to have our privacy, and we recognize the cost. But if I was to do it again, I would have that, no problem. I
yeah,
would sacrifice 5 years of my life to live debt free for the rest of my life.
yeah. We had the plan. So the 16 units that we built in Ingersoll, we had the plan to all of our designs included the option of duplexing the property
Mhm.
with basement apartments, and but we were just ahead of um, the municipalities realizing what was going
Yeah,
on. It was going to cost us an extra $48,000 in development charges just to put the basement apartment in.
it's insane. How do they justify that?
They didn't. They like basically they said we don't want them. It is effectively what they said. It wasn't their
Yeah,
words, but it's by their actions. That's what it was.
yeah,
And I look back at the city of Guelph. Like, the pendulum never stops in the middle, right? And
and that's
the city
true.
of right,
Yeah,
the city of Guelph for decades, made it virtually impossible to get an accessory apartment legal law. So people were like, okay, well, I still want to do it. So they went the illegal,
yeah,
in-law suite route, and
yeah,
then they were cracking down on those.
yeah.
And we as realtors actually had an issue with it so bad. And I remember Tara, she was just beside herself. She was so angry about the treatment from some of these city inspectors that were going on MLS and looking for houses that were coming up that had like second kitchens, right?
Yeah.
And
They still
trying
do
to,
that to this day.
fair enough,
It's a
but
complaint.
it's yeah,
It's funny. I stood up to the city several times by doing, and that's one benefit of doing this basement apartments is I had firsthand dealings with the city. I'm right
yeah,
in there. I know what people go through. And honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought. But we did have a few inspectors, and there was one that came through, and the basement apartment was in a raised bungalow. So the front had full size windows,
okay,
and the back had just regular basement windows. And the bedrooms were at the back. And the inspector came in and said, you have to have these bedrooms with an egress window. And everyone thinks that you do have to have an egress window in the bedrooms. You don't.
no, as
It's
long as it's
just,
in the unit,
yeah, and it just has to have light requirements, right? And I said to him, listen, we're doing this to create some affordable housing. You're asking me to spend $4,000 per window to put this in because you think you should have it. why did the city give me the permit in the first place if that's what was
Yeah.
expected? That's not the
Yeah.
case. I know from doing them already that you need your two egresses. The front door is one, and the window at the front, we're changing it to a giant window, one single pane that beautifully opens inside. It's a great window, one of the best you can get.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you're right, I guess. I'm like, I know I'm right. So thank you. Right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else he could find. But people won't stand up to the city because they're afraid. They don't know the bylaws. They don't know these things. And I don't know all the bylaws, but I know enough to
Yeah.
raise questions and common
Well,
sense as well.
and think about it on the construction side. So, we have to empower our site super and project manager to be very blunt with these inspectors. Talk,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a
it's
catch
scary.
22 because the reason that they're strict is because there's always people that bend the rules and do things wrong.
Yeah.
Even, the basement apartment thing, people did them illegally. That's why they had to crack down. So I get that,
Yeah.
but just be honest about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have someone on staff that looks at these things and we, look at the MLS listing or the Kijiji listing or the Canon listing or whatever it is, and we compare it to what we know as permits. And we're going to make sure that it is safe.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. But by disguising it and scaring the crap out of homeowners that aren't experienced with this stuff, I had one year where I had five or six people call me. I'm like, oh my God, like what's going on? And a bunch of them were at a certain address in the city. And interestingly enough, I went back this year because I had a listing there and looked up, and because I knew I've seen the letter, I've seen everything, I guided them through the process, how to handle it,
Yeah.
and not one of them um, had any kind of complaint against their unit on the public website. And I
Yeah.
thought that was so interesting when I personally knew, I'll guess five.
Yeah.
Interesting. They didn't want to put that in public record, I guess. But anyways, they all did what they needed to do, and you know, I won't say anything more because I don't want to put heat
No.
on that in case they're going to go
Yeah.
back to it. But it was
No.
logical that they should have five units or five bedrooms. But now you know the address if you're.
Yeah. No. I think there's always stuff to that any municipality can do better. It starts at the top and works down. So Cam's announced he's stepping down,
Yeah,
retiring.
yeah.
Um, any thoughts on who should be next mayor?
No, I have no clue, dude. Not a clue. I
We'll
don't know.
see.
Someone would have to be very brave to be mayor of Guelph.
Yeah,
It's not an
yeah.
easy job.
No, well, any level of government, it's
Yeah,
certainly not, and counselors as well. And it's just you can't you can't make everybody happy, which ends up you try and you don't make anybody happy.
yeah. And my beliefs are probably not aligned with Guelph, anyways, in terms of politics. You know, I actually live just outside of the city, so
Okay,
my
yeah,
government aligns better with what I believe. Common sense. And
that's
that's
what
all I'll
should rule.
say. I just lost
Yeah,
a ton of clients there. No, just kidding. My clients know how I stand and they know that I love everybody regardless.
yeah.
And that's
Well,
how I deal with
but again,
things.
common sense should rule.
There are
But
certain things, we got to look after our community first. We got to get rid of things like crime and fix homelessness somehow. You know, we've tried some things that didn't work. It's a tough job, and I don't know if anybody is willing to step up to the plate for that. I haven't heard of anybody. I don't know. Do you have
yeah,
any thoughts about that? Like,
in terms of who should be stepping in as
yeah,
mayor, or I don't know, we'll give Mark a shot.
Mark
Give
McKinnon.
him a call. Yeah, give him a call. Get him to step back in. Um, Mark's brain around that works perfectly. Uh, and what I mean by that specifically is with him having all of his work as a board game designer, he very much looks at ripple effects of rules. So if you put
Yeah.
this rule in place, how does that, what are the ripples going to look like? Who's going to try and circumvent that? Who's going to try and do whatever against that rule? So I think when it came to, I'll just say bylaws and municipal governing, uh, his mind is set up perfect for that sort of thing. Do him and I, do you and I, do any of us totally agree 100% with the direction that different things should take? No, but at least I know that he's put the thought in. And it's not just okay. We're going to put this rule in place and see what happens. It's like okay, well, this could happen, or people react it this way, and yeah.
Yeah.
So
The problem
we'll see.
with that is you're absolutely 100% right on that. The problem is that people don't understand that. It's a tough job because you have to be this public figure that is, very articulate. And Cam had that. Cam
Yeah,
was articulate. He, on at least on the surface, he's able to roll with the punches, add some humor. Sometimes humor went good, sometimes it went bad, but he was a human being and people appreciated that. I mean, I forget the stats, but I think I saw it. And I'm just going to kind of round off the numbers here. But when he first got elected, I think it was like just over 50%. Next election was something like 70%. And then the last one was in the 80s. So
yeah.
we had progressively
I'm
people.
pretty sure the other candidates voted for him. Like,
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Right. And it's too bad that he has to step down, but I get why. It's not an easy job. You have a family as well. And, it really, if you're going to do a good job, it's going to wear on you.
yeah.
And I know 100% that I'll never be in politics in any capacity. I couldn't
No,
do it.
I thought that perhaps at some point I might get into that sort of thing. And yeah, you just look at the trade-offs. And it's like, no, no, there's no, there's nothing more valuable than my time and my ability to, you know, do what I choose to do. Whereas, you're tied to, let's say, just being in the council meeting every single Monday and Thursday or
I
whatever,
would
plus
hate
committee
that.
meetings and like
I'd be such a bad mayor.
yeah,
That
yeah,
would be horrible.
yeah. Joining us on Zoom from
Cancun. No,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wi-Fi connection's fine. We're good.
I would just, Andrew didn't show up again for the meeting. I wouldn't be that
Yeah.
bad, but I hate that kind of stuff. I hate just, just that I don't know how to describe it. It's nauseating
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah.
And there's so much
So
responsibility.
yeah. So the name of our podcast, and I'll finish on our call on this if that's okay. But the name of our podcast, what we're looking for is Naked Real Estate. We haven't launched any episodes yet, but we're
I was
stockpiling.
going to take
Yeah,
off my clothes there.
yeah. Well, again, one of the fun questions that I want to ask people is, what's the one thing that you try to do every day or every week to look better naked? What and you're fit individual. I saw some of those pictures from your trip recently. So yeah,
I don't know which ones you're looking at, but they're not that fit anymore. Like, that's a good
well,
question. So how do you take that? Is it a joke? Is it serious? For me, what I'm trying to do, and this is an honest answer, is I'm just trying to get my hip back in working order.
okay,
I had a hip replacement in December, and I just want to get to being able to walk without any kind of impediment. And so far, so good, but it takes time to heal. And there's
yeah,
some days that are not as good as others.
yeah.
So I have
What
to go to the gym and ride a bike just to get it moving, get some
yeah,
strength down there.
yeah. What you do your hip? Like, is it a nagging
Arthritis.
injury or okay?
Yeah. Arthritis. So the joints kind of did that.
That's fun.
Yep.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So you're just on the bike every day and
Not every day.
keeping active,
Not
trying to
every
be
day,
on.
but I try and get out a couple times a week.
Okay. Summer's
Yeah.
going to be a little different. Like you get what's your summer look like for activities?
Disc golf, brother. I'm a professional.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do you know Chris Gear? Do you know that name? I think I've asked you this before.
I feel like I do. Is his wife a realtor?
She's a mortgage agent.
Okay, no, it's not.
Um,
Not. I
but
know the name, but
Chris is a realtor out of London.
okay, that's where I've heard it, but I don't know him
Okay.
personally.
Big, big into, they'll do their tours and really enjoys his disc golf and
Does he play in tournaments a lot or
maybe.
maybe? Okay. I'll look up the name. My first tournament of the year is next weekend.
All right.
And that's my first foray into the professional division. So we'll see how it works out.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
where's that?
It's going to be in Brampton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
White
And
Spruce.
white spruce. So what would the different divisions look like? Like I know nothing about the type of leagues at all.
So on the pro side, you'll have, so I'll just, I'll say this. So for the male side, you have MP, which stands for, it stands for mixed professional, but it's actually male professional, but we can't say that.
Okay.
Um, and then you have MA, which is mixed amateur.
Okay.
And then you have FP and FA, which is female professional, female amateur. And then you have age classes. So the there's so much to describe. So what I'm playing is MP 50, male professional over 50.
Yeah.
So I'm playing with guys that are my age, right? Which they're actually my age class is actually very hard because they've been playing for 20 years.
Yeah.
I've only been playing for 4 or 5 years, whereas the professionals in the MP, they're young 20-year-olds. They haven't been playing that long, but they've got the youngness, so they can throw the frisbee, 500 feet, 600 feet, which is
Jeez.
phenomenal, super far. Um, and I wouldn't be able to keep up with that because they can't throw that far. And then there's MP 40, MP 50, there's even MP 60 and 70, but there's not that many competitors in it. So, but I'll be playing in the MP 50 division, and it's a good group of guys, a lot of fun. And honestly, the guys in the MA 50 division are the same caliber. They just, for some reason, haven't decided to go professional. Maybe they like getting
Okay.
their disc every week or every tournament. I got enough discs. I don't need any more discs. I'd rather win money if I play well.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough. And what would a score look like?
in disc golf, so it's
Sure.
played exactly like regular golf in terms of
Yeah.
scoring. So you have your par three, par four, par fives.
Okay.
72 would be an average course, I would say.
Yeah.
And then in the professional division, you're going to be under par to place well.
Awesome.
Most courses. Some are harder than others, but
Okay.
yeah. I got into that by accident, though. By the way, I don't know if you knew
Yeah.
that.
No. How'd you get into it?
Well, it's actually related to my hip. So I didn't know when my hip surgery was going to be at the time, but last year, 2025, the provincials were going to be held in Guelph, and
Okay.
I wanted to qualify for that. And to qualify, you have to place in the top three in your division. So I kept trying out for the amateur division, and I kept getting fourth. And I'm like, damn it, these same guys, they're in the same division. They're always getting one, two, three, and it's the way it should be. They're better than me, right? But these guys kept doing the same tournaments. So I looked for a tournament that didn't have those guys in it. And I came across, they're all full, but I came across one that had an MP 50 division that had room for one more person.
Okay.
So I signed up because if I can qualify, then I can take the surgery tomorrow if they offer it to me and I don't have to worry about it. So I did it. And when I got there, one of the guys didn't show up. So there's only three of us. So all I had to do is finish.
Yeah.
And so I qualified for the professional. And then later in the season, I knew my surgery date was going to be past the disc golf season. And I did qualify for the amateur division as well. So moving forward to the fall, I'm thinking I should just go in the pro division. Like I'll never have this chance again. Right. And so I did. And I accidentally got third and I got money.
Perfect.
So now I'm
Nice.
pro.
Perfect.
It's hilarious.
Nice. And how much, like, you don't have to say the exact number, but more than what the entrance fees would be, and
Yeah, I
you
got
just yeah,
Canadian dollars. I got $219 for third.
nice,
That's
nice.
pretty good.
And completely lost your amateur status.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. Like I said, it's going to cost me maybe $20 more per tournament to play because all
Yeah,
of our money goes to the pool, and people can, like corporations and stuff, donate as well to the prize pool. But amateur, you don't nowadays. They've cut costs so that they don't give you all the stuff that they used to give. The used to get prizes for first, second, and third, like a monetary value, go to the store and pick out a disc or two or stuff like that. I
yeah,
won one tournament, I got $120 worth of stuff, so I can go get three discs,
yeah.
whatever it cost. Now they don't even have that. You get a little trophy. And you do usually get a disc or a t-shirt when you play. But I have like a drawer, I have hundreds of discs. I don't
Yeah.
need any more.
No, I never understood that. Like even at golf tournaments where you win the longest drive contest and they give you a new driver. I'm like, no, that guy doesn't need a new
I
driver.
like my driver.
Yeah,
You should
that's
give it to the losers.
yeah, yeah,
They need a new one.
yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways,
But
that's the story. I'm an accidental pro,
perfect.
but that's
Well,
how I
I love
keep in
catching up.
shape.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's awesome. I love catching up. I better get off and let you get back to your night. Say hi to Dita for me, and we'll
Will
talk to you
do.
soon. Awesome.
Awesome,
All
brother.
right.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Cheers.